Do you think that had something to do with the design of this power plant?
I don't think there's any part of that pyramid that did not serve a practical function.
Okay, so this is the image that you have here, and what this image shows us is the King's Chamber, the various shafts, the southern shaft, the northern shaft, and these shafts have been described as portals to stars because people have looked up through there, and you go through the shaft, you see stars. But what you're saying is something entirely different. What do you think these shafts were for?
And the northern shaft has dimensions and has an appearance that is similar to a waveguide. What if they are waveguides? How did they function? I mean, what were they used for? What were they using waveguides for in ancient Egypt?
So these waveguides, you believe, what are they collecting, and where are they getting it from?
They had. We are bombarded with microwaves every day. I mean, it's the signal from, they say, the Big Bang.
The King's Chamber shafts is what's collecting the microwaves. The Queen's Chamber shafts have what you believe some chemicals in there.
Right.
And then what is happening with those chemicals?
They're mixing and boiling off hydrogen.
So there's the chemicals that are in the shafts. You have the Queen's Chamber, which is collecting the hydrogen. And then what happens into the King's Chamber?
Well, while that is going on, the King's Chamber is vibrating in sympathy with the Earth. So if you got the subterranean chamber, that serves one function. You go up to the Queen's Chamber, that serves another function. You go up to the King's Chamber, that serves another function. And in between, you have the Grand Gallery, the ascending passage, you got the descending passage. All of these things are there for a reason. Vibrations. Yeah.
So what kind of device in the subterranean chamber would do that?
You think of it like you've got a device, you've got a cylinder, you've got a shaft coming out of it. You design it so that shaft is going to push out at a particular frequency. So you go
like a piston.
Boom, 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 boom. And so you put it against a structure. That structure has a natural frequency.
This subsystem exists to vibrate the King's Pyramid.
Just to connect the pyramid with the Earth.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. So it's vibrating the pyramid.
Yeah.
And the hydrogen in the Queen's Chamber now, it makes its way into the King's Chamber.
Well, yes.
What happens with the vibration of the pyramid through this thing that's connected to the Earth in the subterranean chamber, constantly hitting, boom, 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 vibrating.
Right.
The hydrogen flows into the Great Chamber. The King's Chamber, rather, King's Chamber is vibrating, and then you have these shafts that come from the outside of the King's Chamber into it. Right. So what's happening there?
In the minerals in igneous rock, you have these positive charge carriers that when they are stressed, they will shoot to the surface. And those electrons, when they're stimulated to move, they move very, very quickly through the pyramid, through the Earth, and they seek the highest point.
So something is happening in this subterranean chamber.
Yep.
And this something is causing the pyramid and the Earth around it to vibrate.
Mm-hmm.
And how is that affecting the hydrogen? And how is that affecting what's happening in the King's Chamber?
Okay, so you have a combination of you've got two different kinds of energy now flowing through the Great Pyramid. You've got electromagnetic energy, and
from the
you've
ground.
also got mechanical energy.
Right.
Right.
Okay, so you've got the mechanical energy of this thing that's striking.
Right.
You have the passages that are filled with chemicals that's causing the accumulation of hydrogen. The hydrogen is making its way into the King's Chamber.
Right.
And then what is the function of these passageways that go into the King's Chamber from the outside?
Well, the northern shaft carries a microwave signal. That signal passes through an amplifier, and then the signal enters into the chamber and collects the energy that has been accumulating in that space. And it's like a laser or maser, you know.
So the chambers are collecting microwave energy from space.
Yeah.
It's going through them, and it's going, the passageways rather. It's going into the chamber, which is vibrating, and it's filled with hydrogen. So what is this reaction that happens when these two things meet?
Okay, the action of that is the same as a laser, where you have the introduction of a photon in a laser, right? That photon passes through an energized medium where the electrons are pumped to a higher energy state. Then that photon collects another photon, and then another one, and it just builds and builds and builds and builds. But it does it at the speed of light, obviously.
This King's chamber, when it has the hydrogen in it, you have the electrons, you have the vibration of the thing, you have the microwaves coming in. What do you think this?
So you have microwaves coming in, but then you have power output.
Power output.
Yeah. So the power output is the southern shaft.
It's crazy that this makes sense. It really does kind of make sense that this is a passageway for gases and energy. Like the way I'm looking, I mean, it looks like, if you're looking at it like this, it looks like a system.
It's a machine. So that's the inspiration for this image right here.
So the idea would be that this whole thing would be emitting wireless electricity.
Yes. And
so that they would be able to utilize that somehow. But I'm just interested to see what other people have to think about your theory, because this is really fascinating to me. I'm looking at all this and I'm like, wow, this makes so much more sense than having this thing there as just a tomb for a dead guy.